Sticking with our discussion on the global economy, let's bring in Julia Coronado, chief economist for North America at BNP Paribas. She's also a former Fed economist, and she joins us from her office here in New York. Julia, welcome back to Bottom Line. Always a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you, Mark.
Julia, the Labor Department released its job opening and labor turnover survey, also known as JOLTS, and there was a big jolt. The survey showed that job openings decreased in April for the first time in 3 months. Are companies losing confidence in the durability and sustainability of a recovery? And was President Obama correct today when he ruled out a double-dip recession?
Well, I think there is some loss of confidence, and in particular, some of the industries that had been such strong sources of hiring in the last few months. The leisure and hospitality industries, the retail sector, really took a big step back. So that's a little bit worrisome. We have seen consumer spending slow a bit, and those retail-facing sectors look to be slowing their hiring as well. So I would agree that at this point, it's more of a continuation of disappointing growth rather than a real double-dip scenario. But of course, really the momentum in the labor market is going to matter a lot for June and July and where we go from here.
Julia, where's the demand for labor? Job openings have been stuck at about 3 million for 3 months.
Well, you know, one of the realities, unpleasant realities, is that the U.S. economy is just growing a whole lot slower than we were used to in the past. And there's still a lot of structural adjustments in the construction sector, in the state and local government sector that are holding back overall job growth.
Right.
I think that there are companies that are doing well. There are sectors that are doing well, and they are hiring. On balance, though, it leaves us with this kind of yucky, slow growth.
What about the churn that takes place in the job market every month? In April, 3.97 million people were hired, but we saw that another 3.74 million people left their jobs. They were either laid off or quit. What's the significance of that?
Well, a lot of that friction is normal, and we do see a tremendous number of layoffs and hiring every month. But I think one of the big worries this time around is, you know, if you have school teachers getting laid off and, say, the mining industry is hiring, is there a mismatch of skills there that sort of restrains growth? And I think that there is some of that going on, and that's a big concern.
Julia, Fed Chairman Ben Bernanke is speaking in Atlanta this afternoon. What do traders want to hear him say?
Well, what do traders want to hear and what are they likely to hear?
Absolutely.
Maybe two different stories. I think that the message he's likely to send is that, look, they're in no hurry to remove accommodation. They are absolutely, you know, focused on the economy, watching the developments, and, you know, they will keep the current accommodation in place as long as possible, or as long as the economy needs. Will he start signaling another round of quantitative easing? I think that's less likely. I think the bar for that is still very high, and we have not yet reached it.
Well, in prepared remarks for a speech today in Charlotte, Atlanta Fed President Dennis Lockhart is calling on the central bank to set an explicit goal for inflation to invigorate what he calls the halting economic recovery. What would an inflation target do to Fed policy going forward?
Well, we've heard we've heard that possibility of an inflation target, and as well some possibilities for further language adjustments that could just commit the Fed to being on hold as long as necessary to achieve their mandates. It's sort of a way of easing policy without engaging in another round of quantitative easing. So depending on how things go from here, we could see those options explored. You know, just highlighting that commitment that, look, we're not going to tighten policy until things really are on a self-sustaining track.
Julia, we have about a minute left. Let's go overseas. European Union leaders are debating a second aid package for Greece. A year after Greece's initial bailout, the country is still unable to borrow. And the Slovak finance minister said that Greece has to provide more assurance that it's going to improve its public finances to qualify for a second EU loan. How bad's the situation in Greece?
Well, Greece is struggling to find the political will to meet the requirements of the aid package, and it's a real worry. On the one hand, you know, the European countries providing the aid know that they do have to make good on this aid, or a domino effect is possible. On the other hand, they really do want some commitment that there is some structural fiscal responsibility being put in place. So it's a little bit of a game of chicken right now. I think they are making progress, but it's by no means easy, because whatever package they agree to, it's going to have to be ratified by the European countries. And we know there's still a lot of political turmoil around these issues.
Julia Coronado, chief economist for North America at BNP Paribas, joining us today from New York. Julia, it's always a pleasure. Thanks so much.